So far, we've covered a pretty good amount in our previous action items. We've looked at our goals, we've identified the strategies, tactics, and habits needed to achieve our goals. We've dug deep to figure out why we wanted those goals, and we looked at the beliefs we have that could be giving us resistance toward achieving our desired outcome, and then created new beliefs to improve the rate at which we are capable of progressing. If you have been following along to this point, you should find yourself automatically engaging in activities that are more in alignment toward your goals. You may notice that your cravings for sweets begins to diminish, that going to the gym isn't as much of a chore. You wake up excited each day because you know you're making progress toward your vision, which helps you just feel more present and alive. Again, while weight loss or performance might not be your number one objective, one of our objectives is to teach you and give you the tools needed to sustain the amazing progress you make here for the rest of your life. That includes the nutritional strategy itself, but also the mindset and psychological component. These tools we've been going over will not only give you the ability to continually change and alter your health and body composition, but these tools could be applied to other areas of your life that you want to improve. The last major pillar of addressing our mindset has to do with this idea of growth versus fixed mindset. Truth is, most people give up on their hopes, dreams, and goals long before they reach them. The gravitational pull of the way things are is just too strong. And when you combine that with the natural survival instinct that keeps us safe and wants us to stay the same in comfort, that makes it hard for most people to achieve their goals or reach what we call escape velocity. Carol Dweck is a Stanford psychologist who wrote the book Mindset: The New Psychology of Success, something I very highly recommend reading. Dweck discovered that one of the most basic beliefs about ourselves is how we view and inhabit what we consider to be our personality. She identified two mindsets, the fixed mindset and the growth mindset, that create many of our behaviors, our relationships with success and failure, and even our capacity for happiness. A fixed mindset assumes that our character, intelligence, and creative ability are static. Basically, that we can't change them in a meaningful way. A fixed mindset gives people the desire to look smart and preserve their identity, which can't be changed. So a person with a fixed mindset tends to avoid challenges. They tend to give up easily when they're faced with an obstacle. They tend to see effort as useless or even detrimental. They tend to ignore constructive feedback, and they often feel threatened by the success of others because they have a deterministic view of the world. As a result, they may plateau early and achieve less than their full potential unless they have the ability to shift into a growth mindset. Now, a growth mindset is based on the assumption that intelligence can be developed. This leads to a desire to learn and a tendency to embrace challenges and persist in the face of obstacles. People who have developed a growth mindset tend to see hard work and effort as the path to mastery, so they learn from failure and criticism. They find lessons and inspiration in the success of others and have a sense of their own free will and ability to change their life and circumstances. As a result, they fail forward and even reach higher levels of achievement. They also tend to be happier with themselves along the way, since they see challenge and failure as a springboard for growth, whereas people with a fixed mindset tend to see challenges and failure as a threat to their identity. It's so important to develop the psychology of success and to evolve into a growth mindset that I'm going to read an extensive section from Carol's book. Carol says, "For 20 years, my research has shown that the view you adopt for yourself profoundly affects the way you lead your life. It can determine whether you become the person you want to be and whether you accomplish the things you value. How does this happen? How can a simple belief have the power to transform your psychology and, as a result, your life? Believing that your qualities are carved in stone, the fixed mindset, creates an urgency to prove yourself over and over. If you have only a certain amount of intelligence, a certain personality, and a certain moral character, well, then you better prove that you have a healthy dose of them. It simply wouldn't do to look or feel deficient in most of these basic characteristics. I've seen so many people with this one consuming goal of proving themselves. In the classroom, their careers, in the relationship, every situation calls for a confirmation of their intelligence, personality, or character. Every situation is evaluated. Will I succeed or fail? Will I look dumb or smart? Will I feel accepted or rejected? Will I look like a winner or a loser? There's another mindset in which these traits are not simply a hand you're dealt and have to live with, always trying to convince yourself and others that you have a royal flush when you're secretly worried that it's a pair of tens. In this mindset, the hand you're dealt is just a starting point for development. The growth mindset is based on the belief that your basic qualities are things you can cultivate through your efforts. Although people may differ in every which way in their initial talents and aptitudes, interests, or temperaments, everyone can change and grow through application and experience. Do people with this mindset believe that they can be anything, or that anyone with proper motivation or education can become Einstein or Beethoven? No, but they believe that a person's true potential is unknown, and unknowable at that. That it's impossible to foresee what can be accomplished within years of passion, toil, and training. Why waste time proving over and over how great you are when you could be getting better? Why hide deficiencies instead of overcoming them? Why look for friends or partners who will just shore up your self-esteem instead of ones who will also challenge you to grow? And why seek out the tried and true instead of experiences that will stretch you? The passion for stretching yourself and sticking to it, even when it's not going well, is the hallmark of the growth mindset. This is the mindset that allows people to thrive during some of the most challenging times of their lives. According to a poll of 143 creative researchers, the number one trait that determines creative achievement, or how you bring new things into your life, is a resilience and perseverance provided by a growth mindset. When you enter a new mindset, you enter a new world. In one world, the world of fixed traits, success is about proving you're smart or talented, validating yourself. While in the other world, the world of changing qualities, it's about stretching yourself to learn something new, developing yourself. In one world, failure is about having a setback, getting a bad grade, losing a tournament, getting fired, getting rejected. All these things mean you're not smart or talented. In the other world, failure is about not growing, not reaching for the things you value. It means you're not fulfilling your potential. In one world, effort is a bad thing. It, like failure, means you're not smart or talented. If you were, you wouldn't need effort. In the other world, effort is what makes you smart or talented. So, I hope that the value of developing this mindset is clear to you. If so, you might be asking yourself, what does this look like in practice? I've outlined 3 key steps to adopting this way of viewing yourself and the world. Number 1. You must acknowledge and embrace your imperfections as well as those of others around you. Denying or running from the things you don't like about yourself simply makes life unbearable. This doesn't mean we don't seek growth and strive to be better versions of ourselves. That's part of having a growth mindset. What we want to avoid is trying to change things about ourselves out of the anxiety of not being good enough. Number 2, challenges are simply opportunities for growth. If you find yourself terrified in the face of a serious challenge, stop and reframe the situation in your mind. Consider your challenges as an opportunity, thus slightly shifting your perspective to make it easier for you to engage. Each challenge or opportunity invites us into a new experience that is a sort of adventure. This program very well might be a huge challenge for many of you. It's new, uncomfortable, and involves doing a lot of things different. The people who succeed ultimately shift this perspective. It's still challenging, but instead of that causing them to feel defeated, they start to get excited about it. They attach a reward to working through a challenging task to the process itself. That is the key to continual growth. Let me repeat. They attach a reward to working through a challenging task, a reward to going through the process. Most people hold the reward that they give themselves until they reach the outcome. Sometimes simply reminding yourself of your big why, your big purpose when you face a challenge or when things get difficult is exactly what you need to help you push through. Now, number 3 is to value the process over the end result. This kind of ties into the last point. The process is everything. We become conditioned to seek fulfillment in the future, to say, I can't be happy until I achieve X. It's great to set goals and have things in the future to look forward to, but relying your happiness on an event in the future is the equation for unhappiness, unfulfillment, and burnout. We all know tales of wealthy people who are just miserable. They got what they thought they wanted and what they thought would bring them happiness, but they missed the point. They missed the journey itself. Downloading these frames to see the world comes down to keeping them in your focus on a daily basis and catching when you are expressing fixed mindset thinking and replacing it with growth mindset thinking, such as the 3 frames I just outlined. A great exercise I advise is to schedule times to check in with yourself and your thoughts on a daily basis. You might set 3 alarms throughout the day. When those alarms go off, you take a minute to examine where your mind is. Are your thoughts expressing a fixed mindset? If so, no problem. Simply replace those thoughts with that of a growth mindset. Every time you do this, your brain is doing a bicep curl and you're growing stronger as a result. Before you know it, your default will be to see the world through this lens of a growth mindset.